How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Tacoma Beast channel, where, as you all know, it's all about the taco. Today we're here at Accutune. Next to me is Sam Webster. This is not his Tacoma, by the way, but he did purchase a Tacoma with a salvage title and he turned it into a badass pre-runner. We did a video walk around his truck. Make sure to check it out in the link down below. And after that walk around, I asked Sam, dude, you've proven yourself that you can, convert a salvage Tacoma into a pre-runner. What's next?
So now it's time to take it to the next level. It's a pretty capable truck, but I'm still running the stock rear suspension. And the goal with this truck is to be able to go and take it down to Baja and maybe pre-run it or eventually do some racing.
And you've done the cage work yourself, right?
Well, I've done some of the design of that already. And with the cage work, it's going to get a 4-link suspension in the back.
Nice.
But to get it to perform at a high level, I needed some really customized shocks to make that happen. And so we're here at Accutune Off-Road. And these guys helped me pick out some shocks from King and helped me customize them from the manufacturer. And we're here to talk about the customization that happened.
This is not a kit you can get off the shelves.
No, this is like super specific just to my vehicle.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we're gonna do a 3-part series kind of highlighting this whole thing. So this is the first video in the series, obviously. You guys are gonna learn a lot about shocks. The second video is going to be me building it. So the cage, 4-link suspension, fuel cell, all of that stuff to be able to actually mount the suspension or mount the shocks to the suspension system. And then the third video, we're gonna go out to the desert with Accutune and tune this thing and get it super, super dialed in.
Dude, I can't wait for that. Make sure to subscribe. You're not gonna wanna miss it. Are you ready to go meet Ryan?
Let's do it.
All right, with us today is Ryan. He's the founder of Accutune. This dude is crazy. He's really dissected the shocks, peeled back every single layer to understand the anatomy of the shocks, man. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so I started Accutune Off-Road 6 years ago in order to provide better support for shock customization and tuning. And I've been doing this for about 20 years.
That's awesome, man. Now,
Yeah.
Sam, when you started this project,
Yep.
tell me a little bit. I mean, you're starting out. What did you do, man? How did you know to reach out to Accutune?
Well, in the beginning I didn't. I'm kind of starting from zero. This is my first build of this caliber, and there's a pretty steep learning curve. And I dug around on the forums, which is kind of the traditional route for anybody building something. Found a lot of information that was conflicting, and it was just too confusing.
The forums are not gonna help you out here.
No. So I stumbled across Accutune and found that these guys are an amazing wealth of knowledge when it comes to this. And as a customer, I assumed, I might give them a little bit of information about my build, and they'd spit back, a couple options or whatever. But the amount of detail that we went into learning about my truck specifically was amazing. And the support that I got was kind of overwhelming. I didn't expect to be going back and forth with these guys to really get it dialed in.
And what were some of the things they were asking? Like, what is some of the stuff? Tell me, go step by step and
Yeah, we typically start with the weight, so kind of what modifications, spare tires, cages, things like that. And then we go into how you're gonna mount the shocks. So Sam's doing trailing arms.
Yep.
And so we went back and forth a little bit on which trailing arms he's going with and where they're gonna get mounted.
Yep. And
then we got into how much total travel he wants to get out of the rear of the truck, how much up travel, frame limitations, is he gonna cut the frame, not cut the frame? And so we kind of went through the whole build and just figured out exactly what he's doing, and now let us build a shock package exactly for him.
That's really cool. So you guys really geek out about the whole project.
Oh yeah, I love this.
That's awesome. So once you've placed the order with King, it's a full customized shock. What do you do then once you guys receive it?
Yeah, so when they come in here, we take them all apart, we make sure they're built correctly, and then we go through the internal valving as well and make sure that the internal valving is set up to work for what he's doing.
Cool. Are the shocks here right now?
They are here.
Cool. Let's go check them out.
Sounds great.
Before we move on, I just wanted to show you guys everything that I've ordered so far. So I've got the 3.0 16-inch quad bypasses. I've got the 14-inch coilovers with the remote reservoirs and the adjusters on it, the 2.0 by 3-inch air bumps and the springs for the coilovers. And then I've also ordered a set of triple bypasses for the front, but those haven't shown up yet. So let's get back to the video.
We're going to talk a little bit about shocks and bypass shocks and what we've specifically done to Sam's to customize them for his build. So the basics are that we've got a piston rod and a piston, and on the piston we've got 2 sets of valve discs, and this set back here bends on compression, this set bends on rebound, and then we've got a hole through the whole thing that's always open. And so on a traditional shock, that's basically what we have to tune it with. When you get into a bypass shock, we start to have all these tubes, and the oil can flow through these tubes as well as through the valving. So what starts to become important about making your bypass shock work correctly is the amount of oil that you can flow through these tubes, where in the stroke that oil starts flowing, and then you've also got to worry about where the tubes are around the shock so it fits on your vehicle.
So I gave you guys a bunch of information. How does that translate into the shock that's sitting here?
Yeah, so this is basically an off-the-shelf shock like you would get from most places.
Yep.
And you can see that first off, your tubes are staggered. So one starts and stops, the other one begins.
Okay.
And on yours, we have made the tubes overlapping. So on bypass shocks, it's all about flow. How much oil can we get to go around this piston in the different zones so we can tune it to do exactly what we want? By making the tubes overlap instead of being a stagger design, we basically doubled your flow more or less for free.
Gotcha, okay.
The next thing we did is we made the tubes bigger diameter. You can see how small these are and how big yours are.
Yeah.
Again, we increased the flow. It's a marginal additional cost for the amount of benefit that you get, the amount of tunability. So that was kind of one of the first things we did is we went with the bigger tubes, staggered layout, and then based on the information you gave us about the up travel, we adjusted the tube heights. A lot of the off-the-shelf stuff is split for 50-50. So 14-inch travel shock, 7 inches of shaft showing. So, you know, you're not running that.
No.
So we've got to customize where the tubes are height-wise so that your soft zone is appropriately soft but not too soft. Your stiff zone is stiff where it needs to be stiff and not too stiff. And so we customized the height of each tube to work together for your specific setup.
Gotcha.
Now let me ask you this, Ryan. What happens if somebody made the mistake to, not reach out to you
Yeah.
to get it fully custom made and comes to you with this? Are
Yeah.
they completely screwed and there's no way to tune it, or there's still a chance?
Yeah, so typically something like this, depending on what's inside, we can usually make some improvements to make it better, but it's never gonna be what this is. So your options are, we can replace the body of the shock and retune the interior of it, or a lot of times it just makes sense to sell those and get a new set that's customized.
So now that you've shown me how you've laid things out and more of the specifics of the exterior of the shock, could we tear it apart and show me how the internals work?
Yeah, absolutely, let's go take one apart.
Sweet.
Ryan, man, so what did you just do right now?
We just tuned the coilover. So we changed, there's a bleed hole we talked about earlier. We went and changed the bleed hole. We changed the compression valving and the rebound valving. And we still have valving inside of these. Some people pull it all out and make it just a coil carrier. But this has a very specific purpose to work on the suspension. And it has to work with a bypass. So we do tune these and leave valving inside of them to make the whole truck work better.
Cool, man.
Gotcha, and that seems like it went super fast. And that's probably because we did all of our homework beforehand, right?
Exactly, yeah. All the specs you're able to provide, we're able to put them into our calculator and come up with exactly what valving to put inside of these. So we're able to come out and do the work today pretty quickly.
Awesome.
So once you're done with this, you just package it, ship it to the customer, and it's good to go. And you're about to receive it in Salt Lake, right?
Super excited. I guess the next step is just to start building.
So that about wraps it up for this video. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon. This is the first video out of a whole series that we're starting here with Sam. Ryan, tell us, man. I mean, Sam is taking on a crazy project. What are some things that he needs to look out for?
Yeah, so the first thing is, Sam, get your vehicle set up at ride height. Take really good measurements of where your chassis is and where your axle is at ride height, and then at full bump. These shocks are set up for a specific amount of shaft showing at ride height, so we want to make sure that we achieve that. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to shoot us a message and ask us, and we're happy to help you out.
Awesome, thanks man. I really appreciate all the help, and you guys are getting me one step closer to my goal of being able to get out in Baja and pre-run and maybe even one day race. So I'm stoked. Let's get building.